Hello, it's the 31st of July 2023, and today I want to do something that really I should have done many months ago, which is to talk through my ideal tram system for Sheffield, my ideal Supertram system. If money was no object, how extensive it would or it could be. In fact, it may be, obviously, with climate change and a lot of push now going towards more sustainable forms of transport. It may be that certainly over many years, trams and other more sustainable forms of public transport could become more extensive over the years throughout the whole country, throughout, in every city in the world, really. But I want to talk about my idea for just one particular line, and I'm probably going to do several videos, I'm not sure yet, on each of the individual lines that I'm proposing. But the first line I'm going to do to show you what I think would be great for the city is what I call a figure of eight line in Sheffield, which connects really the north of the city and from the northeast in Meadowhall to the northwest at kind of Wadsley Bridge, Hillsborough, Middlewood, to the south of the city, being kind of Ecclesall, or southwest and not so much the southeast, but certainly the south of the city, Ecclesall, kind of right down to Low Edges, Batemore, kind of Gleadless Townend, Manor-top, etc. And what you will notice initially is that quite a lot of this tram is already built. At least half of this system is already there. We already have a tram from, say, Malin Bridge or Hillsborough, right through to Gleadless Townend and to Herdings. Well, not from Hillsborough to Herdings, but certainly a tram to Herdings, and likewise out to Meadowhall. So half of this tram system is already there, but the fact that I've produced a tram which goes on a figure eight all around the city like that, and vice versa, obviously the tram will come round the other way as well at the same time, really connects almost all of the important establishments in the city. It connects Meadowhall directly with Ecclesfield, with Parson Cross, and with Low Edges, and everywhere basically. So I just want to kind of zoom in and start. Let's start where the tram already starts at Middlewood. So obviously, as I said before, this is a two-way tram system. So even though I'm going to go one way, the tram also goes in the opposite direction. So let's start off at Middlewood and let's cut across a new bridge over the river. Could also act as a footbridge and maybe even have a cut across for traffic. That's a possibility. To Claywheels Lane. From Claywheels Lane, it comes past the Sainsbury's at Wadsley Bridge and goes up Halifax Road. If I can move this along. and then it turns right to take in the Asda store. Now I need to come out again a little bit, because none of this is, oh, I say none of it, obviously some of it is set in stone because the tram track's already there, it's already been built. And that's not this section, obviously. But certainly this is the route that at the moment would be the most viable route. So it would come past the Asda at Parson Cross and go along Wordsworth Avenue, past the Parson Cross Centre and towards Ecclesfield. Now the alternative route, which may be more viable if there are plans in the future to maybe use this land here, which at the moment is Greenbelt, Greenfield. At some point in the future, the council may be forced to bring at least some of this in to build more houses on, because as we know, every council has to build a certain amount of housing every year by law. And there are only so many brownfield sites in the city, which obviously the council's trying to concentrate on at the moment. But at some point in the future, this section here may be built on. If that's the case, then to run the tram along Elm, I think it's Elm Lane there, it's quite a wide road there, and then to come along is it Chaucer Road? I think that's Chaucer Road. Yeah, Chaucer Road. That might be an alternative, but at the moment to go through Wordsworth Avenue, to go along Wordsworth Avenue is probably the most viable option. So if we just bring that out again, so we're now kind of, Ecclesfield's a little bit of a funny one because it's quite a traditional village, but there's some quite modern shops there, etc. So I think feeding those shops would be quite important. So, and again, going past the church might be controversial. But then down the church and again onto the main road to go past Morrison's. So again, you're connecting up the major supermarkets here. And then from Morrison's, you're going along Woollywood Bottom. So you're serving the bottom end of Shire Green there. Past Woollywood at the bottom end of Concord Park. Best Bluebells in Sheffield in Woollywood, just mention that one. And then along to join up with the tram at Meadowhall. So obviously new bridge put in over there to kind of connect it up at Meadowhall Interchange to connect up with the tram system as it is now. Then obviously from there, the tram will carry on and go along the tram track that's already there. Into Sheffield city centre. So from there, it would follow the route through the city centre, up High Street, Church Street, past the cathedral, and along West Street. But instead of turning right to go back down to Hillsborough, it will carry on up Glossop Road and up to the Hallamshire Hospital. So it goes up to and through Broom Hill, goes past the Botanical Gardens, down to Hunter's Bar, roundabout, up Ecclesall Road South, and this will probably be the most controversial going into this part of the city. So down Carternole Road, or along Carternole Road, now it could split here. You could have just one line in one direction, another line in another direction. Then across Abbeydale Road to service the retail park, which has the big Sainsbury's and the big Tesco. Again, the dynamics around here could be, it's a case of maybe building a bridge over the railway line, main line between Dore and Sheffield. But there seems to be plenty of space here to kind of put in whatever configuration you think would work the best. Oops, where's that going? What's doing there? Right. And then up past the General Cemetery, and then turning left along Abbey Lane to the bottom of Grays Park. And then from the bottom of Grays Park, up Meadow Head, past Morrison's, to the Meadow Head roundabout, turn left again, supplying, and don't forget this is going to be the new ground for Sheffield FC here. We've got these new retail units along here. So the tram can then go at speed along this dual carriageway with very little to stop it, past Oaks Park, to join up with the tram at Herding. So you could either carry that straight on there, or you could turn the tram and take it through this kind of housing area to meet up with the terminus somewhere around here. So again, there are options. This isn't, as I say, this isn't all set in concrete. There can be subtle variations, but the fundamental point is to keep the figure of 8 scenario, the figure of 8 system, tram system, as a system that connects a lot of the city for, shall we say, a minimum amount of new rail track or new lines, because, as I say, half of the lines are already there. So then the tram will simply come back to town the way it does now. Cleveland Town End, Manor Top, Norfolk Park, railway station, High Street, West Street, and then turning right to go down through Upperthorpe, Netherthorpe, along Langsett Road, just basically following the tram track now all the way through to Middlewood again. So just let me pull that out, just so again you can see the system from above, and why I think that with possibly small adjustments depending on local situations, why a figure of 8 tram system really does connect so much of the city, gives you a big bang for your buck, because it works with the lines that are already there and it just connects so much of the city. Now, in future videos, I'm going to talk about individual lines that link up with this figure of 8 and actually go through the figure of 8 or just connect on the line to the figure of 8. So what I shall do on the next video, I shall introduce another line, and then but also keep this figure of 8 line on, so you can see hopefully how it all integrates, because there are an extensive number of lines, but this is the first one that I wanted to show because I think this is probably the most important one, because as I say, I think it gives most bangs for the buck and it connects most of the city centre, despite the fact that there would obviously be some people throwing their arms up in despair that you've got a £500,000 house and a tram's going to run down your street. Well, you know, if people are serious about wanting to reduce traffic and have more sustainable forms of transport, and they generally support public transport and trams, then sorry, but that's kind of got to happen. You don't get a pass because you've forked out a huge amount of cash for, you know, a house in a posh area. So yeah, so any comments would be most appreciative, but if I can ask that the comments are, rather than just jumping on and making crass, asinine comments, that you actually give the comments some serious thought before commenting as to what the problems might be, why the problems might be the way they are the problems that you're highlighting, can they be overcome? Are you prepared to offer solutions to the problems that you are putting in the comments? So by all means, put a highlight potential problem or a number of potential problems, but then also, if possible, highlight what you think might be a solution to the problem. A solution to a problem might be simply, lots of people are going to be upset of having this tram running down their street. A solution would be, it has to be done anyway, so let's get on and do it. And live with it. Either live with it or sell your house and move on, move to somewhere else. It might be as simple as that. That is a solution to a problem. A solution to a problem is not to stop the plan. If the plan works at a meta level, at a city-wide level, then each individual part of the city has to take, shall we say, has to take it for the team. So as I say, on somewhere like Carternole Lane or something, I can see people being up in arms about having a tram running up and down their street every 10 or 15 minutes. But there you go. There may be people who would like a £500,000 house with a tram running up and down the street. So, yeah. So I'm going to leave it there because we're already on 20, nearly 22 minutes. I think I've explained that relatively well. Obviously, one of the main problems is the cost. This is, as I say, this is a kind of, I wouldn't say pie in the sky. As I say, with climate change being as it is, more pressure being put on whichever government's going to be in for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Getting people out of the cars, getting more people on public transport, then the money may have to be found to actually implement extensive expansion of good public transport links. So this might not be as pie in the sky as what it initially appears to be. So with that, I'm going to leave it there for now. So yeah, bye for now.